Good morning. I'm in Buttermere today after a very good night's sleep. I got about 9.5 hours, even though the temperature on the campsite was -2. I think that's about right, what the temperature was. So it was extremely cold, but I had 2 duvets and I think 3 sleeping bags, and I had a really good night's sleep. And I'm in Buttermere, preparing to set off on a beautiful April day, although it could be a beautiful winter day because of what's happening in Britain at the moment. And I'm going up along the ridge, Red Pike High Style. I'll show you where I'm going. Up there, you go through a forest area and then up a zigzag track and then back down at the end. I may possibly extend it a little further going over to Fleetwith Pike. It depends how I feel and how that day is looking in 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours time. So it's a beautiful day and I'm really looking forward to it. a stunning day. I'm up on the ridge now, and that's looking across to Grassmore in the distance. The sun is strong. I suspect I'll get a bit of a, well, not exactly a tan, but certainly the sun will leave my mark on my face today, because at this sort of altitude, in these sort of conditions with this light, the UV is actually surprisingly strong. So there is some cloud cover, so the light is transitory. It's coming and going. It's coming and going. This is hell walking at its best. Well, one of its bests, if I can be ungrammatical for a second, one of its bests, where you've got spectacular visibility, you've got snow cover, but it's not Arctic. It's cold, and there is a wind chill, but it's by no means Arctic. It's actually quite pleasant. I mean, my ears are cold, my nose and face is cold, but when you're moving, it's fine. It's lovely. So this is the Buttermere Ridge, Red Pike High style, and that's my walk for today. Wonderful. Oh yeah, and over the other side, which I'll show you a bit later, you get views across to Great Gable and Pillar over in another part of the Lake District, which is also a fantastic view. So I'll show you that part as well. In fact, I'll show it to you now, because I'm going over there to what appears to be a reasonable vantage point. I think this is one of the best, the very best ridges in the Lake District. The ridges are the best kind of walking because you stay high for the longest period of time, and this is one of the best, one of the very best. I'd say there are maybe two or three all equally as good as each other, and this is one of them. Here's looking over towards Great Gable and Pillar, over which the other side you've got the Wasdale Valley and Wastwater, beyond which you've got the sea. Stunning day. On the left there you've got Grassmore, that's Skiddaw and Blencathra in the distance. Coming across here you've got the Dale Head Massif, which is a lovely walk as well. So many good walks. This is the Buttermere Ridge track, and then coming round I'll show you what's over the other side. This is the beauty of this ridge. You've got wonderful views both sides. That's Great Gable in the middle, top left, not left, top middle. Very iconic mountain. That's the Scarfells. Top middle, that's the Scarfells. Just wait for this wind, just enjoy the view. That lovely shape over there is Pillar, and you've got the Annandale Valley down to the right. lot colder now because an icy wind has struck up. It's either coming down the Ennerdale Valley and shooting up onto the tops, or possibly coming over from the Wasdale direction. So if this continues, I'll have to put on another layer. I do have 2 more layers, but at the moment I'm walking quite lightweight. It just depends whether it lasts, and that's why you have to be prepared, because it can all change in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, sometimes even 1 minute I've seen. So it's pretty cold now. Show you this wonderful view, which is one of my favourite views in the whole of the Lake District. Not actually from this point, although it's the same view, but there's another place where you can look out across here, which is actually quite close to Buttermere. You just go up a small hillside and you look across to this, but still this is rather wonderful. I'll show you. Scarfell Pike. And Scarfell, highest mountain in England. Scarfell Pike is the highest. So this is the start of the descent of this section of the Buttermere Ridge. You can choose to do a longer track, which entails going across to the left at the bottom down there, and then you go across to the peak you see top centre, which is Fleetwith Pike, and then down that slope back to Buttermere. I've done that a couple of times, and that top centre top again is Haystacks, and it's well worth doing. I'm not sure I'll do it today. Still haven't decided. I'll see how I feel at the bottom. This is how I walk. It's all very spontaneous, really. This slope can be quite uncomfortable because it's steep, and your toes jam down into the ends of your boots. And there's a scree section as well, which is always nasty. But actually I think I'm just going to stop here for 5 minutes because the wind has stopped again and the sun's come out, and this is just stunning. You know, you get somewhere like this and you don't want to go back down. Just gorgeous. And it's so full of memories for me. So Great Gable, for example, well, which is centre top. There's a lovely walk which comes up from Seathwaite, going up that ridge, with fantastic views down to Ennerdale, which is sort of bottom right here. I won't pan round there because there's not a lot to see. But you get views down into Ennerdale from that ridge. Another one of my favourite viewpoints. Yeah, One of my very favourite viewpoints, those views down to Annandale. So many memories. That's the, well, I say that's the beauty, it's not the beauty, it's one of the beauties of hill walking. You fill these places with so many lovely memories. Quite warm now, it's really beautiful. Such a treat after months of grey, and I'm just content to stay here for a while. That's Great Gable. That is Haystacks. And I still haven't decided if I'll go further up onto Haystacks and around to Fleetwith Pike. I feel quite content really, I feel quite satisfied and no great urge to add another hour and a half maybe to the walk. There's still another delight to come, which is walking back along the shores of Buttermere. But this ridge which I've just come across is so wonderful, you know, I just feel quite content now and relaxed. Sometimes I'm athletic when I walk in the hills, and sometimes I'm just almost dreamy, you could say, just really happy and content just to be here. And I think you can see why. It's going up towards Pillar, which again is another really beautiful walk. and I'll finish with a view of Great Gable for you to enjoy as I am. So I just got past the scramble, and that's the view down to Buttermere and Crummock Water, which used to be one lake. I think this area, this valley, is typical glaciation. It shows, you know, the geology of it. It shows glaciation. So a huge glacier came down here millions of years ago and carved out this valley. And that used to be one big lake, but it's now Buttermere and Crummock Water, which is also the case with Derwent Water and Bassenthwaite, and possibly Rydal Water and Grasmere was also once upon a time just one lake. I might go up Grasmore tomorrow. That's Grasmore in the distance, maybe, but for now I'm just enjoying these views. So it's a nice area, this. It's got a lot of character to it, which I find with a few parts of the Lake District. There are one or two other places which this reminds me of the corridor route, for example, below Great End, I think it is. And it's usually very quiet down here. Not many people seem to come between Haystacks and Fleetwith Pike, presumably because most of the traffic is stops at the end of the ridge where I paused and considered what to do, and most people, I think, just go down to Buttermere and don't bother with this section, which means it's very quiet, but it's a nice little area. Crinkle Crags, it reminds me of a little bit as well, above the Langdales, although that's actually very popular. Lots of people go there. So yeah, it has a similar character to Crinkle Crags and the corridor route, I would say. It's sort of well, it's quiet firstly, and it's sort of rocky and knobbly, and makes you think of the sort of place that a fairy tale would be set in. You know, imaginary creatures go walking along this path to find the secret something, you know. I've got to go down here, which is a bit I've just got to watch my camera. So yeah, the other thing I was going to say was there's a couple of tarns over here which are very nice, and that's also what I want to see. There's one, and the other one is just slightly further along. I think it's called Blackbeck Tarn, and it is in fact the first place where I ever wild camped 5 years ago, beside Blackbeck Tarn. Beautifully, beautifully quiet, still, and still sunny. Buttermere and Crummock Quarter down there, and the shadowy bulk to the left is the High Stile and Red Pike Ridge, which I came up. Buttermere and Crummock Quarter.